down to the chaos for once. For once.
All right.
What do you mean for
Let
once?
us do
For
some
always?
claps.
It's usually you, Marie.
Ready?
The
No,
chaos?
she's not ready. Get your hands ready for clap, everyone. John?
Jonathan.
I'm like
I am
concerned you're not
ready.
ready to clap. Okay.
I am ready to clap.
Hands to heart center.
1, 2, 3.
Content warning. This podcast contains bones, blood, smut, and swear words.
Before we get into the good shit this week, we wanted to take a minute to thank our patrons. It's absolutely fucking bonkers that we get to do this show. Like, not Tamsin plot twist level bonkers, but it's still pretty wild and fabulous. And here, as we near the end of our second season, again, how? We are so deeply indebted to those folks who are using their hard-earned money for our bonus shenanigans. So, we salute you, patrons of the Frontline Fifth. Okay, now back to that sweet, sweet bone zone action.
Air horn, air horn, air horn.
Act 1. Welcome, penitents. Hello and welcome to the Frontline Fifth, a Lock Tomb podcast where newly minted fetal lictors explore the Lock Tomb series for the first time, while a couple of dried-out bone witches cackle over how little they really know. This week, we are finishing Nona the Ninth by Tamsin Muir, so we will all be desperately trying to swim to the surface in chapters 52, 53, and the Epilogue. I'm your host, Hannah, and I agree with Tamsin. Human mouths are disgusting. And apologies to Allie if you're listening.
Who's Allie?
She's a dentist. I made friends with a dentist, you guys. I'm joined today by Marie, a bone witch who always chooses the right side. Marie, I know this is sort of an insane question, but I have to ask. So, what do you think your reaction would be if you found out that someone else was having an affair with your body, but with the same person you were having an affair with?
Insane jealousy and an incredible amount of insecurity, because I would be like, you couldn't fucking tell? Or you could tell? Like, who? Which one of us? Huh?
It's fascinating. I love this reaction. Really, really interesting psychologically. We'll delve into it in your next session. And also with us are our little lictor siblings who are watching the collapse of their universe. It's Brooke and John. So, Brooke, John, what are your opinions on the ethics of a multi-soul, single-body love affair?
I'm of the opinion that after you've killed someone to turn them into your necromantic battery pack, that other soul gets like free reign to do whatever they want with your body when they're in the driver's seat.
That you lost privileges on making choices for them after you murdered them for their soul battery juice.
Yeah, pretty much.
Heard. What about you, John?
I like that a lot, actually. Yes, you're giving up eternal consent to just use the body however you want because they're using your soul however they want. So, all's fair in love and soul swapping, I guess.
Well, here's the deal. We're going to do a couple of wrap-up episodes in the coming weeks because this book has too much juicy stuff to talk about. But for today, I just wanted to ask you all for impressions of these last chapters, 52, 53, and the Epilogue.
Can I jump ahead of everyone here and just say,
please do.
I fucking hate Ianthe. God damn it.
I think Ianthe is so interesting. I can't wait to talk about it.
Fucking worst.
So is that's your overall impressions, John?
I mean, there's a lot of interesting, juicy stuff in this. The description of the mouths are horrific. We can go with that.
Tongues!
Yeah. I sent the group chat the picture of the, oh my god, the Sarkov pit? The thing from Star Wars that they're hanging Luke Skywalker over?
Yeah.
With Jabba the Hutt?
The Sarlacc pit.
The Sarlacc pit, yeah, sorry. That's basically what I pictured, except even larger and grosser. And with, like, a black hole in the middle.
Yup. Checks out. What do you think, Brooke?
These books have just been, like, fun little mazes of Easter eggs that help us kind of, like, slightly better understand the world that these books are taking place in. Except that when you get to the center of the maze, your prize is, like, a door to a bigger, worse maze.
What do you mean worse? Come on, it's fine.
More complicated or like more of a bummer?
A little bit of both.
Yes.
Yeah. But I will say, at the end of this maze that we got to here. So upon first read of these chapters, I was more just on, I think in the camp that everybody is when they read these books, which is, what the fuck just happened? What the fuck? What the fuck? None of this storytelling is like linear or predictable, which is cool, which is what makes it exciting. But of course, John and I always have to reread these chapters like 4 more times in order to prepare for these episodes. And so after having done that, I'm like very content with how we have left Harrow at the end of these chapters.
I'm not content. We barely got resolution to anything. God and Anthony just swim off into the river. The body's like hanging out in what seems to be a human settlement city somewhere.
We'll get
like,
there. We'll get there. We'll get
John is not content.
we got almost no answers. We got actually less answers than we got in Gideon, if that's possible. So
I think you're right.
Again, it's different, I think, for everyone in the audience who can just read along at their merry pace. But for me, who is like, Dom Toretto, living life a quarter mile at a time. But in this type, it's living life
that reference?
Fast and Furious.
Oh,
yes.
Jesus Christ!
For someone who's living life 2 chapters at a time, this was a fucking just task. This book, and this did not leave me in a happy place. Although I did audibly squeal a little bit when God reconstituted. Anyway, sorry. Please go ahead, Marie.
I don't know what my feelings are. I think that at the end of this book, like the characters who, until you read these series many times over, characters that seem like, yes, they're interesting side characters, but they're not who you... Mercy and Augustine, like, just kill me every time I read this book. And it's like because of this ending of just like so fascinating, like 2 people who just absolutely fucking despise each other and yet have this weird respect and interdependency and very, very close relationship where they can say the things that they do to each other at the end. It's just wild.
I think Tamsin really is incredibly gifted at creating these truly nuanced characters where there's just so much more going on. You can't ever really hate or love any of them. Because they're all missing pieces, except for Nona. I love Nona with all of my heart. Okay. And I felt about these chapters. So on the first read, this is the vibe. Mercy fucking explodes God into dust. I was like, holy shit. And then like 4 pages later, he fucking reconstitutes. And I was like,
holy shit.
And I threw the fucking book across the room and got into a car and drove into downtown New York so that I could stand in like, Times Square and just shout at the sky like, what the fuck? That didn't happen, but that's how I felt. I just like couldn't, I don't think I went on to the page after that for like a week. I was like, this cannot be happening right now.
Incredible.
This is baffling. So that's my big takeaway.
That's cool.
All right. Shall we get into some meme watch? Because there's a couple here I know, but several that I do not.
First one is, I pardon him as God shall pardon me. So it's from Richard II. It is Henry whatever, who's like going to become like Henry IV or Henry V, saying this. And he's saying it to somebody who's saying, please pardon me. And he pardons that one dude and then kills everybody else in the rebellion. So it's like basically like that one spare, but everybody else is fucked. Like I don't pardon anybody involved in the rebellion, but I pardon you because you asked me to. So I find that really fascinating that like that's when it's being used. So
it does feel appropriate to this moment with Augustine.
The next one we have is Pyrrha telling about like who she is, like when she introduces herself. And I never caught this until John was like, that's from Gladiator! And I was like, it absolutely fucking is.
Once again, I will, from the very beginning of the podcast, the Roman Empire is my Roman Empire. And
all right, well, John, will you tell us about this one then? Because I have never seen Gladiator.
Didn't you write a cool speech?
I literally did a modified version of this for one of the speeches that we did as a game, like in season 1. But yeah, this whole thing is from basically the reveal at the end of Gladiator when Maximus Decimus Meridius tells Caesar, well, Caesar's nephew, son, I don't actually remember what the emperor, that he's the betrayed commander that he left to die in the, anyway. So he turns around, he takes his mask off, and he says, "My name is Maximus Decimus Meridius, commander of the armies of the North, general of the Felix Legions, and loyal servant to the true emperor, father to a murdered son, husband to a murdered wife." And then the line that gets is like, "And I will have my vengeance in this life or the next."
Rad.
Yeah, and then Pyrrha's basically in the exact same format, including the commander of the
Trentum Army Intelligence or something.
Yeah, commander of the intelligence. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Cavalier to a dead lictor.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, very cool. The next one is Pyrrha is explaining like all of this to Gideon and saying, I think she says something to Gideon about like they're trying to like make their choice about like what they're going to do. Are they going to like, choose to swallow a bullet? And she says to Gideon, I'll tell you, like your mother would have chosen the bullet. And Gideon goes, well, jail for mother. And it's the stupidest fucking reference. It is literally just this tweet that went semi-viral.
You've linked it for us.
It has its own Know Your Meme page, so it's at least viral enough to have like generated.
Oh my god, who wants to read it out loud? Looks like it's talking about a cat.
It's from Patricia Lockwood saying, "Me, lightly touching Miette, which is her cat, with the side of my foot. Miette, move out of the way, please, so I don't trip on you." Miette, her eyes enormous. "You kick, Miette? You kick her body like the football? Oh, jail for mother! Jail for mother for 1,000 years!"
Well done.
I'm so glad I asked you to do
that. Was a phenomenal reread. Thank you so much, Marie. Gorgeous.
Yay.
So
all right,
there you go.
Nice. Okay. Out of the blue.
Yep. We also have Save the Last Dance, just as a meme. And it brings it back around of like probably why Hannah and I were talking about the dance card the way that we were, because I remembered this conversation at the end of like a hero saying there's a difference between saving a shred of dance card and saving the last dance.
Yeah.
And I actually looked this up, and so there is a song from the 60s that is like Save the Last Dance. And the story of it is actually pretty poignant because it's a guy who, it's like written by a man who has polio. And so on his wedding day, he had to be in a wheelchair for most of the day. And his wife was like somebody who was like a theater gal, right? Like, and she wanted to dance and do all that. So it was like, go have your fun. Like, dance the night away. Save the last dance for me because I'm the one who's going to be with you and taking you home.
That's lovely.
Huh. I've sang that Michael Bublé cover song a million times and never picked up on the meaning. That's cool.
Well, now, please try not to get swept away by the river as we present Hero the Ninth, Episode 19, Not Yet. Act 2, No Forgiveness.
This section of Frontline Fifth is safe for anyone who has finished Hero the Ninth.
Let's recap. Chapter 52 is a fifth house skull. Moments after the Emperor's murder. God's not dead. Augustine takes it to the river. Pyrrha in Gideon's body. Ianthe chooses bad. Gideon Nav dies again. Wait, why is it the fifth house skull? Whose fifth house?
Augustine.
I forgot about that.
As he plunges them into the river. So let's talk about it. Well, Mercy just murdered God. It's a thing that Mercy and Augustine have been conspiring to do for hundreds, perhaps thousands of years, but it's clear that it actually didn't happen in the end the way anyone expected. They had this like hope, this fantasy, this plan of being able to evacuate the houses first so that they didn't get destroyed when Dominicus went dark. But Mercy saw her shot and she took it. And she says the sin needed to be mine. And in this beautiful conversation that Marie alluded to already, even though Augustine and Mercy hate one another to their core, and they're going to hate one another until the end, they have a kind of peace here at the end. Dominicus has gone out. When it collapses into a black hole, it will swallow all the houses. It will be the end of the 9 houses. And initially, Mercy and Augustine had said they would just like throw themselves into a sun once it was done, but Augustine pushes back on it. He hates a suicide pact. He won't let Mercy just die.
Wow.
They still have a job to do. They have to find whoever's left. They have to make peace with the Edenites, deal with the resurrection beasts. And then they're going to find a home not paid for with blood. And when they die, their bones will rest easy together.
And the sin of necromancy will be no more.
Psych! A blinding white light fills the room, and the individual particles of Jod knit themselves back together. And just like that, God's not dead.
I mean, obviously, you can't just kill God.
You say that, but I was shocked.
There was a very tiny portion of me that when I first read it, I was just like, what, just like that? Really? Is that really going to work? Like, okay, I guess it's happened. I guess it worked. And then, like, you turn the page, you're like, oh, no, it absolutely didn't. Actually, you turn, like,
good for
5
you,
pages.
Brooke. I was like...
The boss music starts playing again, but it's faster with more music this time.
Yeah, but it's also just so funny because it like brings back all of the things of like Mercy has been literally spending 10,000 years on anatomy for this moment.
For this moment, yeah. The other thing, part of what I think is like so interesting about the way that it's written is that you have this really, unlike the end of this book, which is unsatisfying to John, in these like first few pages of this chapter, you get a really satisfying resolution. Mercy and Augustine coming together, coming to terms with what they've done, getting ready for a new world that they will not be allowed to be part
Felt
of.
like that's what we were really going to do.
Switches on a dime.
Yep.
It's written as this really like lovely resolution.
It was a very good psych.
So fucking good. And Jod just like straight up, he like reappears naked on the floor, stands up, reaches out, and explodes Mercy's chest.
And this was the description of him kind of recoalescing is the first really gross description of mouths, right, John?
Well, I mean, it's like his teeth are sprouting up, and then it like describes his tongue, and then like just the way that it's described of him like
it's
knitting back together is disgusting and fascinating and beautiful. And I was like, this bitch can write.
I also would like to be clear, I find mouths disgusting, but my dentist friend is legitimately very cool, and I respect her and her profession enormously. Just, just in case. I don't want to get disinvited from the wedding, you guys. Okay. Jod coalesces. He explodes Mercy's chest. He taps something in her head. Something goes crack, and she just falls to the floor. I really like the difference between this death and the death that Jod had in the last chapter, right? Like, Mercy explodes him into this just, like, mist of individual pieces, and it does feel peaceful. It feels almost beautiful. And this is that, like, visceral guts and blood. Yes, yes. He, like, just, like, gore all over Augustine, who's standing in front of Mercy when it happens. The Saint of Joy collapses in presumably true death, leaving blood and bits all over Augustine. And Jod shrugs on Mercy's robe to cover his nakedness and tells us that Dominicus is stabilized. He hopes the 6th house didn't get cooked in the flare. And unfortunately, it turns out you can't kill the Emperor of the 9 houses. Even the resurrection beast can't kill him. Which means he's just been letting...
Yeah, Augustine here says, well, you acted afraid. And he says, operative word, acted. And I was like...
It's pretty fucked up.
Piece of shit.
This
is like not the most fucked up thing that he's done, but it is something that upsets me a fucking lot.
I mean, it immediately
says,
let
the lictors,
I don't trust you, is what it says.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also, he let them die.
Yes,
he was willing to sacrifice them like pawns.
They can't kill him.
Yeah.
And he sends them out to die distracting them.
For some reason.
Remarkable. It's actually deeply, deeply horrifying.
Yeah.
So I find these 2 chapters, maybe 51 and 52, really, really interesting for the character of Jod, because Jod to Harrow is in many ways a father. And this is a moment where you watch him pivot on a dime and show, we've seen little pieces of him peek through many, many times, but this is where the part of him is all the way through that says, not only am I all powerful, I am the only one that matters. You only matter in as much as you are a tool for me.
Yeah.
Right? He says, at this moment, like, I'm drawing a line in the sand. You are with me or against me, and if you're against me, you're dead. Like, he has no... It's not about love. It's about usefulness. Yeah. And it's really, really horrifying to watch
makes
that
all his
that
pet
shift.
Words for everybody feel pretty insincere.
Yeah.
Or literal, like you are like as meaningless as like the tip of a finger or like a gesture, right?
That's
like
always been the case, right? Ever since you start hearing that, you're like, ugh. That's not cute.
Yeah, that sort of metonymy where it's very clear that you only are meaningful as a sub part of him. Yeah, and that he can get others. Like, you are eminently replaceable. All right, so Jod's like, you're basically with me or against me. He tells Giddy One, I'm not even mad that you failed to either fix or put down Harrow. I just want your loyalty. Giddy One swears loyalty.
Son of a bitch.
How did you feel reading this line?
I'm going to say, again, I might get it tattooed on me at some point, but, like, God's a piece of shit. Like, it's just...
Oh, God, that's good. The funny thing to me also, I love this moment. Like, Giddy One immediately swears loyalty. Ianthe still beats him, doesn't even let, like, Jod finish his sentence before she's like, I'm in, loyal, your side, no problems. And our Gideon is pretty fucking pissed that God just admitted that he was the one who told the Saint of Duty to consistently try and murder Harrow.
Yeah.
But Gideon doesn't get a choice because, as Jod says, killing you to escape a messy relationship is a bit beneath me, and so she just gets tossed across the room to join Giddy One and Ianthe. It's time. What?
It's beneath me, as if we can, like, evaluate his moral code at this point. As if anybody could evaluate his moral code.
Oh, 100%. So it's time for Augustine to pick a side. You know, Jod basically says, I will pardon you. And Augustine thinks about it. But after all, it was God himself who said there can be no forgiveness. And so Augustine plunges the entire Mithraeum deep into the river. And this is kind of one of those things that John had been coming back to again and again, this idea that Augustine, like, built the barriers or whatever, but that Augustine is capable of moving literally an entire fucking space station into this, like, otherworldly plane of existence and pushing it really down and down towards the depths.
Super impressive.
Yeah. Everything happens pretty quickly after that, right? The entire station is creaking under the incredible pressure. The window blows open. The Emperor is sucked out into the river. Augustine and Ianthe follow him out. And the Saint of Duty grabs our Gideon in his arms and wrestles her up farther into the station away from the water. Because, unfortunately, neither Gideon can do necromancy right now. Which makes the river an eminently dangerous place. And that's because it's not really Giddy One. The Saint of Duty's body is not currently being controlled by Giddy One. That's because Giddy One is dead. He fought the resurrection beast for hours alone until a ragtag band of ghosts showed up led by that mad sweetheart Matthias. But in the end, they couldn't beat number 7. And Gideon never could walk away from losing fight. In reality, the person who has grabbed our Gideon is Pyrrha. And I also want to just, like, take a moment to talk about what's really happening here. The body of Giddy One has grabbed the body of Harrow, controlled by, respectively, the souls of Pyrrha and Gideon.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So it turns out that Gideon and Pyrrha compartmentalized during the Eightfold Word in a similar way to Harrow and our Gideon. But it seems like it was maybe by accident. And Pyrrha says that more of her was taken than Harrow took from Gideon.
And also that she's been doing this without Giddy One's awareness, more or less. Which explains his,
Isn't that
like,
bonkers?
I guess his thing about, like, I often forget.
Yes. Yep. He is losing time regularly because Pyrrha is able to actually emerge and control his body and has managed to go underground from him. So Giddy One has been living literally a split personality where he is not encountering the memories of the other. And Pyrrha has been periodically popping up. And I will go ahead and tell you for free that if you go back through this book, there are times when Gideon's, the Saint of Duty's, eyes are described as dark. That's Pyrrha. The Saint of Duty's eyes are bright green. Like, we see Pyrrha multiple times over the course of this book, and you don't even really realize it.
So Pyrrha's eyes in real life were bright green.
Right.
So that is why the Saint of Duty has bright green eyes.
Yes.
And so that means that now when Pyrrha comes back, it's actually his own eyes again.
Right, because what we've learned is that, like,
eyes.
a perfect lictor partnership would involve a swap of the eyes, meaning you'd exchange eyes. So yeah, she wears his eyes, he wore her eyes.
Yeah.
And so we have, like, a sort of internal version of that.
It's also interesting because that's not what happens actually with Harrow and our Gideon.
Nope, Gideon's got yellow eyes.
So there's some complications here. It's not exactly a one-to-one, but it is really, really interesting that the Saint of Duty and Pyrrha have had this going on in the background the whole time.
So do you think that when Pyrrha popped up, and maybe you already know this and really just can't share this, but like when Pyrrha pops up, is she still a necromancer?
She never was.
I know, but she's in a necromancer's body.
She says she can't do necromancy.
But that's because her cavalier is, her necromancer is dead, is what she describes it as here. Maybe suggesting that when she popped up before, perhaps she still could do necromancy.
I don't think so. I think what it is that it's also, like, there's something weird about the swap. Like, she heals not quite fast enough. So, like, if you go read the incinerator scene, that's Pyrrha. Yeah. And she's not healing fast enough.
Which I think we threw out there as a potential thing. It was like when we were talking about...
you did.
Yeah.
Bastard. No, so I agree. So she heals more slowly. There's no reason to believe she can do any sort of necromancy. But I will argue, we don't know anything more about this. I think Pyrrha is special. And I think their relationship, their lictorhood, but even who they were before, is interesting and may have interesting implications later on, Brooke. So I'm like, cool. I'm down to do some crazy theorizing on that, but there's no reason to believe it's true. Pyrrha is the cavalier.
Okay.
On the other hand, I will say, and I'm just going to throw this out there real quick, in the second house lictor study, you know, where the room that Gideon and Harrow make it into after their first challenge, there are 2 rapiers in a dueling floor. And we don't see that in any of the other studies. So we also know that Gideon was like good enough with a rapier to begin with. He was also
like bulky, almost suggesting maybe that he was kind of an abnormal necromancer, right? In a lot of ways.
That's true.
Also, I wonder if this comes back to that like random note where it's like, he can't fix my deficiencies here. Oh shit, no, that was, who was that letter from in 2? Give Gideon
I can
my
tell
regards.
You who we think.
That was a letter to Pyrrha, presumably, then.
Yeah, I know who I think it's from, and I don't know. Is it spoilers at this point?
Well, no, because we don't know.
So we think that is to Pyrrha from Anastasia.
But we don't know that. And it's also, you know, complicated, right? Because that's assuming that Anastasia really did have deficiencies, which is brought into question by this whole thing. It's possible Anastasia had no deficiencies and was about to do a perfect lictor swap. So, you know. Fun questions, fun times. And we haven't gotten to the most fun part of Gideon and Pyrrha's relationship, which is another telenovela that I would absolutely watch, which is basically that sometime after Pyrrha starting having an affair with Commander Wake, the commander of their enemy Blood of Eden, Gideon started also having an affair with Commander Wake. And I just think this would be fascinating to watch. Did she know immediately that they were 2 different people in the same body? Or did she, like, figure that out over some period of time? So bizarre.
Can we do it? Can we read the note?
Go for it. Go.
What are you talking about?
I will remember the first time you kissed me. You apologized. You said, I am sorry. Destroy me as I am. But I want to kiss you before I am killed. And I said to you, why? And you said, because I've only once met someone so utterly willing to burn for what they believed in, and I loved him on sight. And the first time I died, I asked of him what I now ask of you. I kissed you, and later I would kiss him too, before I understood what you were. And all 3 of us lived to regret it. But when I am in heaven, I will remember your mouth, and when you roast down in hell, I think you will remember mine.
What the fuck? I'm gonna have to go and reprocess all that shit.
Yeah, we will go through it all detailed, but that's an example of Wake writing just to Pyrrha, but about the relationship with all of them. And I think it clearly was a 3-way relationship, and I think the only one who didn't know that was Gideon.
Wild. You're saying the man was the clueless one?
Oh, God. Well, he was used to losing time. This is actually, so separately, if we want to go into like mental illness again, if you're a person who has lapses in reality or lapses in time like that, you can't trust anything that's happening. So even if you think that something weird is going on, you're constantly questioning your own judgment. All right, so meanwhile, like, Hannah's getting off on the juicy drama back in the Mithraeum, but out in the fucking river, Augustine is wrestling Jod down towards the stoma, which is this horrifying gaping mouth with human teeth and hundreds of horrifying tentacle tongues. They're like very specifically described as human incisors wringing this like mouth to hell, this infinite black chaotic darkness. It's pretty fucking bad. So one of the weird things is that the stoma has opened for Jod, which apparently is not typical for anything other than a resurrection beast. And Augustine is literally trying to drive Jod through the stoma the same way they would have done with number 7 if they had actually fought it.
This was written like one of the classic throwaway lines that she loves to put into things.
Not typical for anything other than an RB.
One of those lines that made my brain itch.
Yeah. Yeah, what do you want to do with that?
Yeah.
Nurture that statement, figure out where it takes you.
Yeah, take this scrap and wait till the next book, suckers. Yeah.
All will be revealed except for the things that aren't. So Augustine and Jod are wrapped in these tongues and they're being pulled down into hell. Ugh. And Anthe is floating above them like a white panicking butterfly. She's kind of poised to make the difference in who lives or dies. And so I'll quote here. She got one choice, and not only did she blow it, but she blew it in such a huge fucking spectacular way that you would have been impressed had you not hated her for it. Anthe, with the world in the balance, reaching her hand out and pressing down on the weight marked bad.
God damn it.
She swoops down and cuts away the tongues that hold Jod, pulling him up to safety so that Augustine is pulled all on his own down into the stoma.
We don't really know what Anthe's thinking in this moment. This could just be a sort of like, you know, she's kind of team evil and whatever God's crazy fucking shit that he's doing. Maybe she respects it, likes it, thinks it's cool. It's like, yeah, all this crazy shit I just saw God do, that's cool. I want that to keep going. That's an option, right?
Just
another option.
I think it's the least interesting option.
Sure, but that's the one that, like, you're kind of, like, supposed to be thinking. That's the one that's, like, you're being led to that option. The other option is it's, like, a form of cowardice, right? Of, like, oh, like, God is the most powerful, and therefore I'm on the team of whoever's most powerful so that I can be safe. Or, like, a form of devotion of, like, I think that they can be kind of tied together of either she's just purely devoted to God, or there's also this aspect of, like, she thinks God is going to be the one that makes Coronabeth the most safe somehow.
It's interesting. I don't read her as a terribly devoted person.
No.
But I do read her as an incredibly calculating person. So I
she
think
is very
whatever
devoted
choice
to her
she's
sister.
made here.
She's incredibly devoted to her sister.
Strong agree. I like this idea of making the right tactical choice for the only person she is devoted to, which is Corona. That's really interesting.
One of the other reasons could just be simply that, like, the world that Augustine and Mercy mourn is an unknown, or that they want is an unknown to her. And so she sticks with the thing that she knows, the thing that, you know, she's lived.
That's really interesting. And, last episode or the episode before, Abigail has this little speech where she says that you're facing basically a bummer that is known and hideous unknowns and don't walk towards the unknowns. So, yeah, interesting. All right, well, Anthe made her choice, and Pyrrha and Gideon have a choice of their own. They can choose bullets, water, or waiting.
They get the maroon choices.
It basically is. If you're, like, marooned on an island with a pistol with one bullet, Captain Jack Sparrow.
Oh, my God.
You can shoot yourself. You can wait to die.
You can try swimming and
take your
drown.
chances waiting, or you can try and swimming and drown. That's exactly right. Those are the three options. Well done, John.
That's
well
so
done.
Funny.
It's unclear what they're going to do, but Gideon in the end makes the choice. She breaks a window with her sword, and they're both swept out into the river. And the pressure starts to collapse Harrowhark's chest, and Gideon sees, before she dies, a beautiful dead woman. It's the figure of the beautiful
dead girlfriend.
Ridiculous.
It is the beautiful woman that Harrow has been obsessed with since she was a child. And in the wrong voice twice removed, this, vision says, chest compressions, on my mark. And Gideon dies.
We'll say also, when Gideon is looking at the dead woman, this is the most, like, real she has, like, seemed, right? Like, always before she was just sort of a ghost, a hallucination, more or less, it felt like. Here it's just like, oh, that is a person who is visible and real and happening and executing actions in the real world. Mm-hmm. So flip-flop.
I find this fascinating. I also, I genuinely think, I know you've read it through multiple times, it's worth going back and reading through Harrow with this assumption that the body is absolutely real. Because the writing, it feels different. It's like a different vibe when you read it in the two different ways.
Oh, so do you think that I am interpreting this, but it's not actually written any different?
What do you think, Marie? You're shaking your head.
It's a different book if you assume that the body is a vision and a ghost and not real, versus if you assume that the body is a real entity. It changes
almost
how you
that,
read everything.
By her priming you by saying that she's crazy and she's seeing this body and double checking whether anybody else can see it, which in her river bubble, nobody else can see it.
I think in general, I had a really important and clever point to make, but I can't remember what it was. So, meanwhile, back in a collapsing river bubble, Act 3, Truth Unvarnished and Truth Unclean.
Let's recap. Chapter 53, Broken Ninth House Skull. Half an hour ago, Dulcie shares her secret. Harrow saves the last dance.
Dulcie had a last-minute secret that she needed to share with Harrow, and it was this. Harrow's body is not being puppeted. The Seventh, who are, of course, the creators of the beguiling corpse, they know a little something about puppeting. And it doesn't feel like the ghost of the sleeper. So something else is moving Harrow's body with autonomy. And Dulcie wanted Harrow to know the truth before she made her decision. So Harrow says, there's a difference between keeping a shred of dance card and saving the last dance. And she rips apart the fabric of the bubble, and the filthy water of the river sprays in, and then everything shifts. She's walking down her long black corridor again, and then she's back drowning in salt water with Gideon's arms around her in the pool at Canaan House. And she breaks the surface of the water, and she's in the icy saltwater pool inside the locked tomb. She pulls herself to shore, half frozen, and she walks into the mausoleum. And inside the tomb itself, the chains are snapped. Nothing is in the coffin save the two-handed sword.
Dun, dun, dun.
Harrow crawls into the coffin and embraces the sword, which now holds no, fear and horror and anger towards her. And she finds tucked in one side of the coffin a magazine. And when she pulls it out, she sees a woman scantily clad in a cohort uniform, or what is sort of kind of approximating a cohort uniform. That's right, it's Frontline Titties of the Fifth, and our namesake comes back.
This is a huge reason why
I have wondered before, how come Frontline Fifth, after being a throwaway line in the first chapter of the first book, what's your title?
We can't fucking help it because we are children. But I do love that it comes back here. It's so fucking funny. And it's equally funny that Harrow was like, that's not even a real publication. There's this huge rocking as of an explosion or a cradle. And I was like, those two are similar.
Right.
And Harrow falls asleep. Or drops dead. Or both.
I didn't understand anything in this chapter the first time I read it.
Yeah, I have a lot of questions.
How about the second time?
Second time, I think I got it.
All right, well, 6 months later. Act 4. She loved without reserve the eyes.
Let's recap. Epilogue, 6th House Skull, 6 months after the Emperor's murder. The heat of the city. Have you worked out who I am? Not yet, said Camilla.
So this chapter opens and you are just immediately dropped into a place that you've never fucking been. It is entirely different from any other part of either book.
It's an entirely different, style of novel, basically. You're like, and enter a new world. I'm going to build a new world now. You've gotten used to all these bones, didn't you? These bones and weird mix of Gothic and Roman Christian imagery mixed with space. How about a city? A normal one.
Yes.
A dirty New York. Chicago.
For me, it's giving dystopian space planet city in a classic manner, right?
Yeah.
It's dusty, it's unbelievably hot. The city is blistering hot. It's congested with traffic and people and sound. And we get a description of the average day in the life of someone. In the afternoon, black cloths are tacked up over the windows, and the person who taught her gives her bones to hold in her hand or arrange, just whatever feels normal. And when the bones are away, the curtains can come down, and the person who looks after her has her doing exercises and holding a sword. Just whatever feels normal. when it gets late in the day, they climb down 30 flights to the street to get deep fried street food. They used to go to a place with better sausages until one day when she eats something extremely hot and the guy who runs the place says her lips should be burnt off, and they never go back. In the city, there's soldiers with riot shields, and some nights there's gunfire, and on those nights they lay on the floor of the bathroom all together, and she looks at the person who looks after her with their sharply bobbed hair and gray eyes, and she says, "Have you worked out who I am yet?" "Not yet," says Camilla.
Jesus. Wait, did you guys tell us that this wasn't supposed to be a book?
Yes.
Yeah, I get that now.
Wait, no.
Wait,
I thought the third book was the one that wasn't supposed to be a book.
Nona isn't supposed to be a book.
Oh.
Oh, sorry, I thought that's what you were alluding to. Harrow is 100% on purpose. Harrow is on purpose.
The blurb on Nona says nobody knew that Nona was going to exist. And then you have in, like, the back of your mind, including Tamsin and her editors.
That's interesting.
I am so excited for this. This is, you guys are doing the ugh noise and I've got like the ee kind of thing going on because I'm so fucking excited for the next book.
We'll get into these chapters in what the fuck's going on, right?
That's a problem, right? We can talk about it now, but it is unclear enough that I think we do need some rampant speculation on it, my little newbies.
I liked when John called it reckless speculation.
It does feel that way sometimes. I'm like, y'all need to steer. You need to like be in control a little bit. All right, but first it's time for a game. So, interstitial. Obvious enthusiasm. Great stuff.
Choice.
I don't know why, but I'm a fan of this, like, drawing a line in the sand trope. So I thought it would be fun if we just, like, aggressively pick sides in a couple of imaginary confrontations I've come up with. So let's start with pirates versus ninjas.
Pirates.
Are we playing devil's advocate and just, like, going hardcore on something? Is that what's happening?
No devils necessary. Just advocates.
This is, and I, like, unequivocally, for vibes, pirates, but if it's like a battle, ninjas all the way.
What did you guys choose? I
chose pirates.
Pirates, and you're ninjas? Hyena? Mm-hmm. I'm also ninjas.
Nice. I love a split party. That's fucking awesome.
Hey, we got pirates versus ninjas.
All right, we get to the really important shit. I actually care about this one a lot. Cake versus pie.
Cake.
Pie.
All right, the one thing I'll say is that the only cake that I'm super excited about is cheesecake, and then it's like, so cheesecake...
But that's a pie!
I think it's a pie, too.
Vibes as pie!
Cheesecake is number one, and then it's like 20 pies, and then you can go back down to cake. Because, like, I don't like carrot cake. I don't really like all the other cake. So then you are
actually team pie.
I think so, too. I think cake has to be, like, flour-based, and it's got to have, like, a raising substance in it.
Yeah, I'm sorry, John, you aren't team cake.
I also would like to point out...
I don't think so.
That's
great.
The cake
is a lie.
The cake is a lie.
I like cake quite a lot, but if I'm going to choose one, I am team pie.
Yep.
Okay.
Same.
Oak trees versus maples.
Oh, fuck.
I didn't know this one would be controversial.
Go with my heart of hearts with
You
oaks.
have to go with versus an acorn versus the little airplane and acorn.
I love, these are my two favorite trees, probably, so it's a little bit hard. I'll go with oak. Nostalgia.
I like maple. I like waffles.
Oh, God, I love maple syrup, and I love sugaring. I think that's a strong contender. I'm all in on maples, but I hate them both. I am unbelievably allergic to both of these trees, but it's much worse with oak. It's at a level where, like, when the oak pollen is following, I swaddle myself in, like, scarves and, like, a mask, basically, in order to just not touch anything. Taylor Swift versus Kim Kardashian. It's Taylor Swift.
It's
Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Ooh, Marie. Marie is slow on that. She's like, yeah.
Taylor Swift has so much better taste in boyfriends. I think it's still pretty easy.
That's true.
I had initially I wrote this as Taylor Swift versus Sabrina Carpenter, but I was like, yeah, they're both on the same side.
Yeah.
Until they aren't.
Okay,
for
a classic.
reasons.
I know, eventually we'll find out. You know, there's got to be some drama down the line. All right, tell me about Superman versus Batman, please.
Batman.
Superman.
What?
Ooh, tell me why,
fucking
Brooke.
Boring.
Depends who's
Thank you.
writing. Depends who's writing them.
I've read nor watched neither, so I'm just going off the fact that Batman's a rich guy and Superman is an actual god. So, well, not really a god.
Interesting.
I've done this rant on this podcast before, but Superman ranges from being a flying brick that's incredibly boring to like an actual deep character.
I don't know them as characters, so I'm going off vibes alone.
Yeah.
Rich man
I
loses.
feel like too often Superman is written as just like very, very boring. Boring motivations, also completely unstoppable, so boring to watch him fight. Batman is more interesting, but you are absolutely right, Brooke. He's also just a fucking schmuck. Like, at some point, you know, you can't be your own police force just because you're rich. Like, calm the fuck down.
Yeah, I'm choosing Batman because too many Superman stories, the solution is, oh, he remembers he can punch harder, is like basically the resolution.
Nice.
Okay, what about baseball versus American football?
Football.
Football.
I knew I'd be alone on this, but I'm a baseball girly and always have been.
You have to grow up into baseball. You have to grow up to it.
Right.
You have to be like care about the stats and like all of that. Otherwise, it's just fucking miserable. Football,
Yeah.
you
You
have
gotta
to
go to
know what's
games with
going
your
on.
dad.
I'm not into the sports ball, and I can still figure out what's going on in football.
I agree. Well, but also baseball's not hard to figure out what's going on. It's just hard to enjoy it. And I've kind of created a rule that I'm not allowed to go to baseball games because I get so bored that I just drink, and it's extremely
That
bad.
is kind of the point for many people.
It is very
I find
bad
this
for me,
so
though.
funny.
I basically need to be escorted out. It's too long of that.
Actually,
Just
I
constant
would
drinking out
love
of
to
boredom.
see Brooke just like actively being escorted out of like Fenway. I think that'd
I don't
be
go
hysterical.
anymore. I just don't do it.
Brooke is not big enough to do the 999 challenge, but like I would love to
I
see
heard
her
about
try.
this. No, 9 hot dogs. That's the hardest
That
part.
actually is
hot
upsetting.
dogs,
In an
9
hour and a
beers, and
half
9
or 2
innings?
hours?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think I could do I
Yikes.
actually think I could do this without any problems whatsoever.
Possible.
Yikes.
I would be interested in trying. All right, what about history versus math?
Math.
History.
I just like puzzles.
Me too. History lies to you.
But the Roman Empire is John's Roman Empire, so we cannot blame him for his choices.
Marie hasn't chosen.
Yeah.
She's like, fuck it, I'm skipping school.
I refuse. Math is
Checks out.
fine,
Alright,
but
that's
it's
fine.
just obnoxious. Okay. History.
Ah.
Split again. All right, what about hot dogs versus hamburgers?
Hamburgers.
I hate this so much.
John's like, I can't choose between my loves.
I get stuck on trees. He gets stuck on hot dogs and hamburgers. That defines us as people. On
Talk us through it, John. Talk us through it.
History versus math for Marie is the hardest one.
Yeah, I mean, so hot dogs, there's just so many regional styles. I feel like I'm about to go down like a Guy Fieri like rabbit hole right now, but like there's so many styles to hot dogs and burgers that like your options are almost limited. Like you can do a Seattle dog with like the cream cheese, you got the Chicago dog with the peppers and
What?
relish.
A Seattle dog? I've never had a Seattle dog.
Yeah,
That sounds great.
It's cream
So
cheese.
when it's
cream
on a
cheese and
hot dog, it's Seattle's, but when it's in a sushi roll, it's Philadelphia's.
Yep.
Yeah, it's I think it's cream cheese,
man.
jalapenos, and something else is a Seattle
Yeah,
dog.
that sounds great.
Also, not for nothing, but Philadelphia cream cheese is not made in the state of Pennsylvania. It
It's
never
made in New
has been.
York.
What a lie.
Philadelphia was known for dairy at the turn of the century, so a lot of places were named after Philadelphia when they do dairy when they're not. Anyway, and then burgers, you have like your smash burgers, like you have your Oklahoma City onion burgers. You have like your thick like steak burgers. I mean, this is like truly asking me to pick between my dogs. I don't know what I can.
Yeah,
I can
don't
pick
do
there.
it. Don't do it, John. You stay pure. What about the rest of us?
Hamburger.
Hamburger.
hot dog. That's a tricky one because it has to.
Do you want the
Again, I
cake?
like both.
The difference is fundamentally a casing.
This is true.
So
That's
plus or
true.
minus casing.
No, that is not what it comes down to, Brooke. That is not at all
My
true.
thing is you can put more fucking shit on a hamburger. I like the variety of like,
You
let's put some
could
onion rings
make-
on there today. It's the
Put so
pickle
much on a
day.
hot dog, though.
You could put the normal hamburger toppings on a hot dog and it'll still taste different because
How about
texturally it's a tube of meat in a casing versus
I
a patty that's been
refuse
fried.
to play the game as it is meant Korean corn dog.
She wants a corn dog.
Love it. I love choosing a third option. That's great. Let's go lightsabers versus blasters.
Blasters. Lightsabers are just so fucking impractical.
Yeah, blasters, long distance.
Yeah, let's bring a cool looking knife to a gunfight. Like the hell?
Yes, and that's what I do. I am all in on the aesthetic. That sounds fucking awesome. I would look incredibly
can,
cool.
like,
it would make the sound.
Yeah, it's a sword that can reflect bullets because apparently the things that shoot literal lasers travel slower than actual bullets, and you have a chance to like
fucking
reflect
cool. My other thing is I understand enough about myself to know how good my aim would be with a blaster. So
you are team lightsaber?
I'm team
I'm
lightsaber.
a lightsaber.
Good, we've got a full army.
We just have a couple more. Let's do Halloween versus Christmas.
Also, I refuse to choose. It's actually Thanksgiving.
Oh, I like Thanksgiving too.
Oh, dark horse.
I'm also Thanksgiving.
I don't think I would have called that necessarily. I'm a big fan of both Halloween and Christmas exclusively for the decorations, but I gotta go Halloween.
Christmas.
All right, metric versus imperial.
Metric.
Oh, are the scientists picking the metric system? How fucking odd is that?
This is my addition to this list, by the way.
John added this one in. John, what is yours?
Obviously metric. Imperial makes no sense. I'm not going to die. I'm not going to die on the hill that Imperial makes any fucking sense. Or should we... the system that our country uses for fucking anything. Nothing about Imperial makes sense. Use metric for everything.
I'm not going to argue with that. I will say that for the last several years, I've been co-writing with a high school friend of mine. We were writing a book that's a bizarre comedy end of the world book about the metric system.
And Boston drivers are good, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right. That's a tiny plot point, but I still think it's funny. I know too much about the metric system. It really is one of those things where, like, unequivocally, this thing of doing, what did you get? Marie just got a present.
She got a drink.
I got a donut and watermelon lemonade.
Ooh.
Ooh, I'm making watermelon margaritas here in a little bit.
Well, after this, I might add some tequila.
No. My only thing is, like, the metric system objectively makes more sense because we do it in, like, series of 10, in, like, orders of magnitude. That's obviously the way to do it. The way that... Exactly. So, like, metric is objectively better. But increasingly, I think all measurement is a little bit silly. Like, everything is based on a completely random thing that you decided was an important distance to measure,
actually, I think temperature is one of the most fascinating things because, like, they actually, like, as much as we say Fahrenheit makes no sense, the way that the Fahrenheit scale was created actually does have some, like reasonable assumptions that were made at the beginning of, like, okay, well, here's my 0 point and here's my 100 point or whatever it is. Like, there's rationale behind it. It just doesn't make sense to us now when we have, like, a different set of rules that we will think make more sense. Hindsight is 20/20.
100%.
But come on.
That's right. That's
Mr.
a good point.
Fahrenheit wasn't entirely wrong.
Where I would say that metric is not superior. So, like, metric for temperature is only better when you're dealing in science and you have to deal with it because everything is metric.
Yeah, but it's not a fine enough resolution scale for, like, our day-to-day lives.
That's my main problem.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, and our final one, Brooke versus John.
I refuse.
Kidding. I refuse to play. I need them both.
Are we fighting, or is it just like us as people? Like, what is the... Because I have zero fighting skills, but I think just one weight difference, I could just fall on Brooke and she would be in a lot of trouble.
I'm pretty good at flaming men.
I don't know what that means, but we need to move away from this before we end up in this situation where legals needs to get involved.
We don't have an HR department.
We all know where we stand. John is our entire HR department.
Finance, legal, and HR. There's no conflict of interest there.
All right, let's just, like, jump right into some rampant speculation. Act 5, fell asleep or dropped dead or both. Now, Brooke and John may be just fetuses, but their conspiracy theories are as good as any 10,000-year-old lictor. So, Brooke, John, what the fuck is happening?
I started off this episode saying I was very happy with Harrow's ending. And what I think has happened, John, what do you think happened with Harrow? Like, is she dead? Or I think she's managed to work her way into a new river bubble, personally.
Yeah, she's either in the river bubble, or she's now a revenant, and like she went back to a place that she has a connection to, which is the Locked Tomb, and she's just like sitting there inhabiting like the coffin throne thing that the person was chained to.
Mausoleum.
Which, I guess we can talk about that. It sounds like maybe we back up before we get there. It sounds like we just jailbroke the body using, I'm assuming, Gideon's body, right? Like we broke open the Locked Tomb and we jailbroke the body, and that's what Cam is now hanging out with in the super hot city.
Yeah,
is there any other explanation to that?
Alecto seems... I do believe that Lecto is out of the tomb. We're going to call her Alecto, right? The body?
Like, Alecto's, like, physical body...
Yes.
...is out of the tomb.
That's what I believe. Do you think that, John?
Yes.
And that it's been inhabited by her personality that was maybe haunting Harrow, as far as we can tell? Like, I think that what Gideon saw before dying was... like a fully functional,
so then
lamplit
Cam
eyes. Was hanging out with Alecto, possibly.
Is hanging out with Alecto's body?
Which seems fucking weird, but why not? Yeah, so basically what that leads us to thinking is that Alecto is part of Blood of Eden now, or is like in this new world, possibly. But hold on, before we get there, I still want to focus in on where Harrow is, before we get to what's happening next. I don't know if I agree that she's actually in the tomb, which is what I think you're saying, John?
Yeah, I think she actually is there.
And the reason I don't think that is because of these like little like details of the Frontline Titties of the Fifth magazine and the sword being there. Like neither of those things should be there, except that they are like little pieces of Gideon, basically. Like to me, she's built herself a resting place that has all the things that she loves. It's the Ninth House, it's like aspects of Gideon, it's aspects of this body that she's loved, it's her tomb, and the body has awakened, is no longer there. To me, like this is like her perfect resting place. That everything has turned out all right.
Did she do what Pal did, where she like anchored her bones to a bubble in the river?
I think that she's because basically when Abigail and Dulcie have left her, they've warned her that she's not going to be able to survive in the river, so her only other option would be to return to her body. And I think that as soon as that chapter, I didn't realize it the first time. I realized it the second time, that Dulcie's basically saying, like, Gideon's not just, like, not just puppeting your body. Gideon's not a battery pack now that you, like, you know, now that you're outside of it and you remember her. Like, Gideon's, like, fully functioning as, like, a independent, autonomous soul in your body right now. So she goes... okay, I'm not going to take over.
Wait, Brooke,
I'm going to go into the river, but I'm also going to beat the odds. What do you think?
Brooke, what if it's just the actual, like, perfect lictor process, and she just took over Gideon's body that they used to break into the tomb? Because I'm assuming they used Gideon's body to get her out of there. So what if she just, like, woke up in Gideon's body?
We don't know where Gideon's body the fuck is.
Well, it has to, if we think they broke out the body.
Oh, so you think Harrow's in AL's body?
No, I think Harrow's in Gideon's body, potentially.
And that they have Gideon's body, and that Gideon's in there.
They used Gideon's body to open the tomb, which was the plan the whole time, but the Blood of Eden has had...
Who is they?
Sorry, Blood of Eden has had Gideon's body the entire time.
Yeah, from what we can tell.
It seems like, based on the fact that they now have Alecto hanging out in a city, they used that to get her out of there during the events of this book. And so we don't know what happened to Gideon's body, but crazy shot in the dark is that Harrow, we're doing the lictor process where the spirits swap places. Harrow's now in Gideon's body.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
They just left her body in the tomb.
Except for the fact that what we see is Harrow going to rest. So maybe that happens next. Maybe that's like the next step that hasn't happened. Because right now, to me, it looks like Harrow has literally said like, oh, everything's all right with the world. I can go to sleep right now. I don't have to deal with this shit. Although it's not necessarily in her personality trait. Like, it says she went to sleep or dropped dead or both. And I was just like, I can't believe she would actually just, like, peace out on this. Like, the work is not done, whatever the work is. She's not selfish enough to just die. So I agree that, like, it feels like Harrow's got to come back somehow in some way at some point. Maybe that's the way. That'd be amazing if they, like, walk out of this in the perfect lictor process. I would love that. It was so nice. But the other thing that we have going on here is that this last chapter is introducing a no-named character, which you have told us, Nona, is like a no-name situation on the internet. And it seems to be that this is Harrow's body. What I'm guessing, what all the context clues seem to be, is that this is, like, Harrow's body.
Wait,
do you think so?
Hold on. You think Blood of Eden has Harrow's body?
Yeah.
Sorry, hold on, back up.
I do.
You're talking about the random character in the hot city.
Yeah,
with
to
Cam.
me,
Is
that
Harrow's
is
body.
a resuscitated, brain-dead Gideon in Harrow's body. Like, she's died, she's maybe lost her memory, but she's clearly got... Because the hints are that she has lictor powers, right? Like, she's not burnt by hot shit. She's familiar with Cam. Cam's familiar with her. She's being given a sword and bones to play with as things that should be normal to her. To me, that's Harrow-Gideon combo.
See, I read that completely with also the body no longer being in the tomb as they went and broke the body out. And that's...
Oh, you thought that was the body!
Yeah, I think it's the body.
I don't...
Maybe that's... Yeah.
Because Electo seemed totally functional when she was resuscitating Gideon's body at the end. The body seemed totally alive and real and making actions happen, competent. I think when she disappeared, it was to go habitate her body. I think you're right that, like, Blood of Eden has, like, managed to break into the tomb and get the body out of the tomb. And that was where Electo, like, or that's where the hallucination body that had been accompanying Harrow disappeared to, was to go occupy her body.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's something weird here because, like, God, like, the perfect lictor process, right? When they kill God, you swap pieces of yourself from the sounds of things.
What if that broke the blood ward?
Oh, that's interesting. But no, it's just like, maybe you can't kill God till you also kill Electo because the spirits are, like, swapped kind of, where it's like you can't fully get rid of him until both of them die.
Yeah. You gotta kill, you can't just kill one.
A phylactery, to use D&D.
A phylactery?
Right? Yes.
But then
Nerd.
Wait, okay, but hold on. We're talking about breaking the blood ward, but that's already happened. Like, I think you only have to break a blood ward once. So, like, I don't know if, like, timing matters here or if we have to go back and, like, Harrow did that a year ago. No, 10 years ago. She broke the blood ward. So, I don't know. Anyway, but, so yeah, everything I'm saying basically suggests that potentially Pyrrha, that the body / Electo, if I'm getting that those are the same person, correct? All of them are now with Cam and part of Blood of Eden.
Yeah, and the bones are Pal's bones, right?
Oh, maybe. Although there was, like, most of a hand that was formed, not just a pile of bones.
Yeah, maybe she's just, like, messing around with the pile of bones that is the hand.
Maybe.
But they're definitely on, like, an Edenite world, right? Because they have to close the curtains because they're, like,
so.
they're doing necromancy
being
stuff.
Secret with the bone witch shit. Yes, I agree. But then, I don't know what happened with Pyrrha, but part of me thinks that Pyrrha can't possibly stick with God. She's not useful to him if she's not a lictor.
Or she's just
he's
dead
a little
in the
sentimental.
Or she's just dead in the river, right?
She could be dead in the river, yeah.
Yeah.
But I do think that means that Ianthe's, like, the only one left on God's side, which I don't really give a shit about that because he doesn't really need anybody. And as we discussed this whole time, lictors and anybody aren't anything more than just powerful pawns to him. Anyway.
Yeah. And you have a note in here that's like WTF is God's goal, and we, like, still don't really know what, like, the end game is. Like, if the RBs can't kill him, like, what's the point?
Yeah.
The thing that Augustine said where it's like you're looking for since the beginning, like, assembling this, like, bewildering cartography is, like, basically like a map, right? You're assembling a map of something.
There's an invasion force. Let it go. Nobody has to be punished anymore for what happened to humanity. In the past, he's described God's goal as a perpetual search and destroy mission out of, as far as I can tell, purely symbolic retribution. Like, obviously, we can't trust what Augustine has to say 100% because clearly he doesn't remember what happened before the resurrection, nor does he understand God fully. But to me, it's kind of sounding like maybe, like, Jod thinks that some, like, maybe stellar overlord god creature, something powerful out there is to blame for the end of humanity, and it's, like, his personal mission. Him with his original lictors, it was their mission to destroy whatever it was. Like, that was kind of what I was trying to pick up out of the pieces, but I don't know if that's true.
In our rampant like our murder boarding, we have, it's like, you know, it seems like he's, like, almost like a genocidal maniac, like he's going and, like, trying to kill humanity everywhere. So yeah, I think we floated some reasons for that before, but, like, we haven't gotten any closer to that, so, like, we still don't know really
still not
anything.
Sure what the motivations are.
Yeah,
and not sure what Blood of Eden's motivations are either, except maybe it would make sense that their goal is to try and fix a river that seems to be fucked up, fix the afterlife, and stop God, who seems to be single-handedly promoting necromancy.
Yeah.
And potentially continuing this issue with the river.
Doing names literally. Like, if Blood of Eden is literally, like, surviving members of Earth, like, Earth was Eden, and then, like, Blood of Eden is the surviving people that lived in the paradise that was Earth before Jod destroyed it. Like, that would be, like, the literal name, like, literal understanding of the name. Like, that could be where that comes from, is, like, they're, like, the original inhabitants of Earth that got off Earth and went out into space.
Hell yeah.
And God destroyed Earth, or at least they think he destroyed Earth. It sounds like he nuked Earth or killed 10 billion people. So, like, again, God's a piece of shit.
I don't think he's punishing himself for the end of humanity. It's like, that doesn't seem right.
Yeah.
So to me, he has to be putting the blame on someone else and hunting them down in order to justify something. Not fully sure what that means.
We definitely think God fucked up the river in some way and is like using it, damming it, or like building like Augustine and it sounds like Anastasia built like structure in the river when there previously wasn't any. Like, did they dam the river and like that's causing the issues, or did they like like souls can't cross as much as they could? Yeah. And then the last piece I just want to throw out before we wrap up is just that the stoma opened for God when it normally only opens for resurrection beasts. So.
Yeah, where's the overlap?
I mean, my initial thought is that Electo, like his Cavalier, he's like
the
thing
resurrection
is the RB, yeah. Like, and the reason the stoma opened up is because he's like got the soul of a resurrection beast.
I like it. Sticking with that for now.
Which means he lictored Earth.
Yes, which is what we said literally first thing, I think.
Or the soul of or like this collective soul of humanity. Like we still don't really know what the rules are for like RBs and like the souls of planets.
Right. And because, why did he do it in the first place? Like, yeah, like what was his he's not a single-handedly evil person. He's just clearly distorted after 10,000 years of some mission. But what was his initial reason?
It's not like specifically the RB, but it's like he lictored the collective like life of Earth. Like he all 10 billion souls. Like Blood of Eden thinks he nuked the Earth to get 10 billion souls. So maybe he's like literally just like the collective mass of souls.
He is the 10 billion?
Yeah, like he's the sum of all life in the like solar system, right? Like he lictored the solar system basically.
The whole solar system.
Like all of them.
I'm not sure if that means much.
Or like
there's no life on the other planets.
He killed all the other planets to lictor. I don't know. There's something there. It seems like he's part RB, right?
We're still missing an RB, yes, and this could totally be it. I like it.
Again, it was written in that Tamsin way that it seemed like a throwaway line that was going to come back to bite us in the ass later.
We won't let it.
or be very obvious. But then we still don't know anything about his like motivations for anything. Like we're just like
guessing.
But then why would he?
And also, I don't think like Augustine and Mercy Moore had like 10,000 years to try and figure out his motivations and got it wrong. So
what does the creation of the body have to do with anything? Because like again, he says it's like she was his atom, right? Like created from his essence. So like why? Yeah. How do we have a Cavalier that was like, created from...
He had to have, like, an initial driver. Like, someone dear to him. He lost someone dear to him, right? His Annabelle Lee, whatever that is. However that works. What the hell?
Yeah. That is... Yeah, is it, like...
Like, he had to have lost someone, and to me, necromancy is reviving dead people. Like, first thing, his initial motivation to me still just, like, straightforwardly had to be trying to revive someone that he loved and cared for.
That was like the last mega theorem we did, where it was like Annabelle Lee got assassinated or killed, right? And then he resurrected her and like got corrupted by the resurrection beast to do like he killed everyone to do like get the energy for the resurrection, and like the resurrection beast happened to latch on to Annabelle Lee.
Right, it failed or something, and I don't know. He now wants to go punish. I don't know what he's trying to do beyond that, but yeah. To me, he's blaming somebody and hunting them, but if he hasn't found them after 10,000 years, it's got to be something like pretty...
Or he's prepping to invade death itself, right? Like he's just assembling an army of souls and necromancers to like go into the river and do something. Like, is it like... oh my god. We said this last episode, and I can't remember it again. The person who goes into the underworld to pull the soul out. Hadestown.
Orpheus.
God damn it, thank you. Orpheus. It's just the whole thing an Orpheus story for God.
Give me some reading to do, John. I don't know.
Fuck me. Again, we didn't get resolution to like anything. Anyway, that was a lot of rampant speculation, so I think that's everything.
You keep bringing up, I'll just say, John, just to make you a little crazier, you keep bringing up Orpheus as somebody going to the underworld. However, Harrow's name is Harrow Hark, and Harrow, I believe, in the names that Tamsin gives, is deliberately, like, potentially pointing towards the harrowing of hell.
Yes.
What is harrowing?
We covered this at like the end of season 1, I think, when we went through all the names again. But it's basically
found like a Reddit thread. I'm like nervous to like look anything up on the internet.
Yeah, like Jesus walks down into like the underworld to like basically lead the souls out of purgatory and the underworld.
So, I mean, similar, same idea, but it's also there's a character with a name. This is my reckless speculation because we don't actually
We're not going to
know
get any
that.
conclusions in Nona either. It wasn't supposed to be a book. It was just a story that came out of, it's like an interstitial.
It's my most
I think it was supposed to be the beginning of how Alecto started.
Well, my dear listeners, I guess we'll see if any of that happens in the next book. But first, we will be back next week with some sanitized spoilers so that Brooke, John, and our other new readers can catch up on what Marie and I have been saying behind their backs.
God, I'm excited.
And we'll also be taking a couple of weeks to go through some of the back material of Nona the Ninth, some more short stories by Tamsin Muir with fabulous guest stars, and a full episode of fan theories.
And if you, dear listener, are, like me and John, reading along for the first time, make sure you find our reading calendar, including our inter-season extra episodes calendar, on our website, frontlinefifth.podbean.com, or follow us on Instagram or TikTok. To support us, you can buy our merch or join our Patreon, all of which are linked in the show notes. And if you like this podcast, please share it with your friends, and give us a 5-star rating anywhere you can. And if you didn't like it, feel free to lie. Now head off to sleep, my baby necros, because Mommy and Daddy have some deep spoilers to discuss.
Get in, losers. We're going speculating.
Act 6. Water spilt over ink outlines.
Warning, this portion of the podcast is 98% spoilers and 2% snickering.
Seriously, we will spoil anything and everything in the series up through Nona the Ninth. If that's not what you want, turn back now. Well, can I just say, all right, they're brilliant. They're thinking about all sorts of interesting things. However, they did not nail anything this time, and I'm so grateful for that. I
feel like there
after
was
the
one
end of
thing
last
they nailed.
book, I mean, some of it was stuff that they had said last episode. So that Alecto is the missing resurrection beast, I think is the biggest thing that they know.
That's the one thing they've nailed. But that isn't new.
Yeah, I'm just grateful. They hit a lot of interesting points, but I was getting tired of throwing parties for people. God, we should throw parties for us next season. Do you want to go through our stuff, or do you want to talk about the specifics of what they said?
No, we're going to do a lot of recaps. So let's go into our reckless speculation, because basically you put a couple of things in here and then I annotated.
I love,
So
actually, I just saw this and I'm loving it. It's okay. So this first one I think is an insane nonsense, but you know that Tamsin loves a throwaway. And there's a weird way that she describes Jod's body knitting itself back together. She describes it as a construct. And I had a moment where I was like, oh my God, how certain are we that the Jod we've been interacting with is a live human person? Is it possible that this is a puppeted Jod from, some other Mithraeum, millions of light years away? And I don't think that's the case, but I do think it's insane.
Yeah, no, and my notes literally say, holy cow, because I was never picked up on that. That's bizarre and weird and fascinating. And also, I'm kind of with you on this too, where I don't think so. I think that he's a construct in the way that all of the lictors are constructs.
Inherently, because of the eightfold word, they have made themselves constructs. I'm there for that. And I also, in terms of God being immortal, I think that you would need to kill both Alecto and Jod in order to get rid of.
That if you had a perfect lictorhood, it would be the same damn thing. You would be invincible if you had perfect lictorhood, because you would have to kill both at the same time.
Simultaneously. Exactly. Or you'd have to find out some necromantic way of splitting them, of undoing the eightfold word. All right, so the other thing that I really want to do is some mapping of who goes where and how.
Yeah, and my note on this before we even get started is that these are so many assumptions made with very little actual evidence, and some of this is old, trying to remember what the hell gets said in Nona.
Yes, I have not reread Nona recently. So, I think we're making some of this up, but this also, literally at the end of this book, I got so in my head about trading places. I was drawing diagrams where I'm okay, the body goes into Harrow's body. Gideon goes where? And then Harrow goes into the tomb. All right, so let's start with this. Harrow goes out of the river bubble into the river, and then our newbies had some questions about whether she is ending up in kind of a new river bubble or physically in the tomb. And I think I think her spirit is physically in the tomb.
Yes.
I think that's what it is. Okay.
So I think the thing that I'm going off of, and a lot of this is pieced together from like lurking on Reddit, as well, where my kind of triangulation with this is that, and this goes back to like, this happens a lot in the books where you have a Trinity imagery and Trinity analogies. And so basically the Trinity and who is playing the Jesus role at any given time swaps. And they've all been Jesus, that. But they're all part of a Trinity, and the Trinity is Alecto, Harrow, and Gideon.
I fucking love that. That's glorious.
And it doesn't have to stay completely in like the like Catholic or Christian Trinity idea. You can have like the Trinity of like maid, what is it?
The mother, and the crone. Mm-hmm. I'm with you. There's a lot of really famous threes, and I love that. The meshing of them together, and then also this thing, they can play separate roles but switch roles. And so I think the evidence that them having been melded, and the reason that all of this soul fuckery happens, is that when Harrow first goes into the tomb and she kisses the body, she makes a link for all of the revenants to travel around on. So she makes a physical link because she kisses the body, and it's like sticking your tongue on the ice, on like the frozen flagpole, right? There's like literally a line somewhere that says like she left a piece of her skin. Oh my God,
body.
That's unhinged. Okay, that's wild. I love that.
So she has a link. That link means that is partly like when Gideon is being pushed down in the water she's being pushed down in. And the reason, part of the way that she recognizes Alecto is she recognizes Alecto because she's been watching through Harrow's eyes and she's been seeing the revenant haunt Harrow, but also she has been partially spending time rubbing up against Alecto's soul.
In the tomb.
And that is why her two-hander and the magazine are there in the tomb, because that is partly where her soul was.
I love that. Huge fan. The only piece of that is that I believe that there is a sword in the tomb from the get-go, predating
that is
Gideon.
True. And it doesn't have to be Gideon's. It could be Alecto's sword.
That one's hard to tell. But I am 100% with you. Yeah, I was going to say, Gideon has been there. I think Gideon has spent almost all of her time where she's not watching through Harrow's eyes, where she hasn't risen up. Like, she is literally in the tomb. So I agree with that. There's this interesting description of how Harrow gets there. Harrow rips apart the bubble. River washes in. She's in a long hallway. I have nothing for that. But then she is being taken down by Gideon in the pool at Canaan House. And I think that's a moment when she actually encounters Gideon in her own body. Like maybe her soul went back to her body and they are drowning together because Gideon is drowning at that moment. And then she ends up kind of being shunted. I love this idea of the physical connection. I also think that salt water is so clearly something important.
Yes.
And for me, I wonder if all salt water is connected. That all salt water is connected to the river such that you can go from the river to literally any other salt water, which I think would be kind of interesting. But I don't know that that's true. I just think it's neat.
No, I really agree with that too, because we've been told that it was important that the saltwater pool was there, and Alecto is a saltwater creature.
Yeah. Okay, you have a note here that is about a question that I should have asked and didn't ask, which basically is, we know that Pyrrha in Giddy One's body is in the river and ends up with Cam. How?
My assumption, based on the way that it's talked about in Nona, is that Gideon and Pyrrha in Giddy One's body, so Gideon in Harrow's body and Pyrrha in Giddy One's body, get sucked into the river. There was also a the story time that Cam tells Nona about how they found her is that there was a skirmish. Like basically they fought a battle. That's when they got her, but at the same time they lost something precious. So I think that Cam and BOE are literally waiting somewhere close to the Mithraeum so that they're on the shore of the river waiting for shit to go down with the RB or seeing that something is happening. So for some reason they are there at the right place at the right time to drag Pyrrha and Harrow's body out.
Yes.
But also there's a battle going on and they lose Gideon's body because Jod is right there and Jod wants Gideon's body.
Thank you so much for this, because this was the question that was just very confused by. Gideon sees the body, sees Alecto. Presumably Alecto is most of what's piloting Nona. I understand their soul bleeding. This is why I named this section Water Spilt Over Ink Outlines, because we're about to go into a book that's all about kind of soul melange. But Gideon ends up ultimately in her own body again as Princess Curiona. And I was like, how the fuck? Like, Gideon's body was with BOE last we saw. So I love this description that they lost something precious, and that something precious was literally the body of Gideon. I think that's phenomenal.
And I think part of what's going on with Nona is that Alecto knows that if she is fully herself and doesn't just basically kind of suppress 90% of what she is, she will kill Harrow.
Oh, interesting. So she's actually trying to limit herself, which allows other souls to kind of like come and rise up in her, other little bits of personality of either Harrow or
if it's
Gideon.
just that she literally cannot be in a human body. Because like once she starts like coming to herself and becoming more Alecto and less Nona at the end of the book, Harrow's body is like literally like parts are falling off of it. And
we talked about how there's something fundamentally dangerous about like a necromancer doing work in a non-necromancer's body. And this is sort of something like that. It's a revenant and resurrection beast coming to the forefront in a human body, even a necromantic body, even one as powerful as Harrow's. I think that's actually all of the kind of like trading places that we get. It cracked me up that they think that the physical body of Alecto has been jailbroke. And I was like, this description is no different from any of the other descriptions of her soul, as a ghost.
No.
But I'm delighted.
I think it's because the voice, like the three different people. Yes, there are three different people. There's only two bodies.
Yeah. But there are three places, right? Because the tomb is one of the places. We've got...
No, I mean the people who are taking care of her.
Yes. Okay, that's also true.
But there's only two bodies. And there's no
but
way
we
that
don't
they
know
could
that
know
yet.
that.
They have no idea that that's true yet. Yeah, exactly. That was interesting. I thought it was like an interesting idea that the bones were Pal's, and that's just because they don't know that Pal is one of the three people who are taking care of Nona.
Yeah.
And again, that's something they absolutely could not know.
And I think that's like also why it's like the wrong voice twice removed, is that it's actually probably
Calamities
voice.
In Cal's body. Yes. I'm with you 100%.
Voice in Cam's body coming out of the Revenant,
the body,
because she's like in a weird.
I'm with you 100%, and I love that. I think that's pretty explicit. I'm a huge fan of that. So my last one is a weird one. At the end, when Harrow is in the tomb, she finds the sword, she finds the magazine, and then there is an enormous rocking as of an explosion or a cradle. Huh?
I always read it as the chest compressions.
Interesting, because they're that tightly linked that even across the physical space of being in the tomb versus wherever the fuck Cam Pal and Harrow's body are, she is still connected to her own body.
Yeah.
I don't hate that. I'm so excited to get to this next one. I think it's a really fun world. I think it's a really different take on the Locked Tomb universe.
Like,
I think they're going to be furious.
So the way they are going to be so pissed. The way that they were so... Like, it took them, like, a couple episodes into Harrow to be like, okay, I'm riding with it, I'm vibing with it. The fact is that, like, nothing fucking happens in Nona unless you're paying attention. Like, you have, like, it feels like a slice of life, and you're like, why are we doing this? They are going to be so mad for so long.
And I didn't care. I was like, I'm more than happy. I'm a person who, like, I couldn't care less about plot. Like, I would so much rather watch just a day in someone's life, just like watch things happen to them and them respond, because it's beyond fascinating. But I really think they're going to lose their shit over it. And it's so funny because we've been very clear. I think we have been enormously clear that each book drops you in and you get nothing, and you're going to feel completely disoriented, right? But you can tell people that, and it's very different than the experience of it. So John is really pissed at me because he has to wait several weeks before he gets to crack the spine on Nona.
I think also, like, Nona was hard for me, like, at the beginning, and then it became, like, quickly, like, it is one of... I think Harrow is still, I think we've had this conversation, I think Harrow is still my favorite, but Nona is the one that, like, makes me feel the most.
So for me, the way that, like, if I was going to really loosely characterize them, Gideon is about plot, Harrow is about character, and Nona is about world. But one of the things that makes it really fun is that in a soul melange kind of way, they all have aspects of each. There's a lot that you learn about world and character in Gideon. There's actually, like, there's plot going on, but it's behind the scenes. In Harrow and Nona, it's like this, like, little bits of it creep in.
I guess I'm just thinking about the fact that if I had to read Nona a couple of chapters at a time over 6 months, I would be pissed.
God, I can't wait. I'm like so relieved, so happy. I'm having the best time. Oh my God, this is going to be so fabulous. Act 7. See you next time, my little nunlets. Well, it looks like we finished book 2, which is very exciting for me because, as I said, Nona, both the book and the character, have my whole heart. But before we get into Nona the Ninth, we're going to spend a couple weeks doing some fun inter-season episodes, including sanitized spoilers, Harrow the Ninth recaps, short stories with guests. If you want to follow along with us and find our inter-season episode calendar, our reading calendars are available on our website at frontlinefifth.podbean.com, and you can follow us on Instagram and TikTok, which are linked in the show notes. If you enjoyed this podcast, please tell your friends and give us a 5-star rating anywhere you can. And of course, if you didn't enjoy the podcast, feel free to lie. We have a Patreon, which you can join for access to bonus content every month. You can become a patron, and they are all Coronabeth level stunning at patreon.com/frontlinefifth, and you can check out our merch at our Redbubble store linked in the show notes. Finally, if you have any fun theories you want to share with us, feel free to email us at frontlinefifth@gmail.com. And with that, I'll just remind you not to unlock any tombs or enter any doors without permission because, ghosts. Bye!
Frontline Fifth is a Locked Tomb podcast conceived by Maria Adamako and starring Maria Adamako, Hannah Grunwald, Brooke Anderson, and John Ryan. Our cover art was designed and created by Maria Adamako, who also edited this episode. Our fabulous music was composed and recorded by Blake Anderson. Sonia Grunwald designs our killer merch. Hot! Gorgeous! The Locked Tomb series is a completely dope-ass book series by Tamsin Muir, who does not know we exist and is in no way affiliated with this podcast.